Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me this week we've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What's up, dogs?
Hey. Right when I said, and we have Joe, I went, oh, shoot, I usually say one of these names first, and I don't know which one right now.
Thought about it too
Josh.
much.
And I'm Josh. Just said my name. I'll just say my name 3 times. Just me.
And I'm also Josh.
Good. If you're not Josh,
for this pod.
yeah, you better be, because if you're not, it's all Josh podcast today, and if you're not, then I'm going to mute your channel for when I mix it.
Well, fine.
It's just going to be Josh and Josh. I guess Joe's not here.
Well, happens.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, so this comes out after the new year, but we're recording it before the new year. Has everyone got super duper fun New Year's plans?
Living. I hope to still be alive by the time this comes out.
Staying alive. Oh,
that's
yeah,
my weekly goal.
That's a good goal. It's a good goal to have.
Yeah, New Year's Eve has always been like a bottom 5 holiday for me, so like I'm already not excited about it. Yeah.
What else is circling the drain with New Year's for you, Joe?
Like Columbus Day, President's Day. I guess I can only think of like 10 holidays anyway. It's just the top 5 and a bottom 5 and nothing in between.
I was going to say any holiday that gets me an extra day off of work, you know?
Yeah.
Therefore is then a good holiday. But in all reality, it's not New Year's Eve. The holiday that people partake in isn't the part that's giving me my day off of work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
It's the actual new day of the year, which is the first.
Yeah, which this year falls on a Friday, so that's nice.
That is nice,
right.
Yeah.
So I only like New Year's Day on certain times, depending on what day it actually falls on.
Yeah. But otherwise, New Year's Eve is just like, it's just like another weekend night, except like everybody's out, so it's impossible to like get a drink if you're going to a bar or something.
Impossible to not get COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this year is going to be kind of a bummer, but also maybe I'll actually get some sleep. Because,
come on.
We'll see.
I mean, I assume there's some sort of a Zoom chat of some sorts happening throughout various groups of friends and whatnot.
If you're listening to this, invite us to your Zoom chat.
Oh, yeah, I'd go to that. Even though this is out after it happened.
Oh, yeah. Invite us to your President's Day Zoom chat.
Your MLK Day.
We'll come to your Easter Zoom chat.
You got a birthday?
We'll be
Join
there.
your Zoom chat.
Josh juggles.
We'll be there with party hats and green screens.
Joe's going to do a birthday rap for you. On the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, freestyle. Freestyle.
Joe only freestyles.
Freestyle rap / roast.
Yeah. Rap battle style.
Yeah.
That's got to be like at least a $2 Patreon, right? A freestyle rap and roast. Right now we're giving it away. Just invite us to a Zoom chat.
Love it.
I'm into it. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any plans either or anything. So. I just assume somebody will be on a video chat with multiple other people, and that'll be New Year's.
Yep.
Cool.
Should be weird.
Well, not a New Year's podcast. Joe, what is this podcast about?
It's a TV pod, but an interesting kind of TV pod where we only watch the first and last episode of a TV show. You may have heard of this. You may have read some articles, but this is
disregard those.
Disregard those. We know how to do this. We've been doing this since like 2017 or something. I don't know, since the Trump administration.
Oof. Why'd you have to say that?
Remember those times?
Yeah, why do you gotta put that over our heads?
Yeah, but we watch a show we've never seen and talk about it, make predictions, because we get to watch the ending without having seen, the entire show.
All that garbage in between.
Mm-hmm. All that wasted
Nobody
time.
got time for that.
Yeah.
Just right to the end, please.
It's like making a movie out of a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a great movie, and a lot of times it's a very bad movie.
I'm sure today's will be great.
And other times it's Frasier.
Jimmy.
And sometimes it's Frasier, and it's just all downhill from there.
Jimmy, it's your show. It's your show today. Are you just making us watch Frasier again?
I wish. I could circle back on Frasier. Oh, it's been a couple years since I finished. Although I gotta finish Cheers first. For some reason that's a longer haul for me. I think I'm only in season 4 of. I think it's about the same as Frasier, 10 or 11. Anyway, I decided to try to channel Joe today. Try to do a Joe show.
Okay.
So I'm doing
taking my
TGI, trying to do a TGIF show.
Shows with huge spiders. And a lot of sex.
A lot of boobs and spiders. And gore. No, this is Hangin' with Mr. Cooper.
Oh, cool.
Mid-2000s TGIF.
Oh, man, it's mid-2000s?
Or sorry, not 2000. Mid-90s. Wow.
I was like, wait a minute. I don't understand time or space right now.
Well,
that might be true.
So,
it might still be true.
I think it's 5 seasons, 92 to 97. That's 5 years, right? I'm not confident that I've ever seen a whole episode of this show. And if I did, it was in the mid-90s, which was a long time ago now.
Yeah, I've definitely seen this show, but I don't remember anything about it, really. There's a theme song. I think Mr. Coop is a teacher. Those are the things I remember.
He's holds a basketball, right?
Holds a basketball. He's probably at some point.
Is he a
has
coach?
A basketball. No, I think he's a teacher for sure.
I think he coaches basketball.
I could see that.
Yeah, maybe on the side.
I also get a big feeling, which I don't think is even true, that this is a spin-off show of a different show.
Ooh.
When you say that, I think oh, when did this show spin off of? But I don't think that's true.
I think it's in the TGIF
in the universe.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I think when
when
they started a lot of these shows, they started them off with crossovers. I don't remember which one. It was Step by Step or something where one of the
Urkel.
first 3 episodes has Urkel in it at the school dance or something.
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Reading
Step by
Wikipedia, it at least says that it originally aired on Tuesdays in primetime after Sister Sister and Full House.
Oh.
It found its niche as an addition to the TGIF Friday night lineup, but it also takes place like Full House in San Francisco, and it was created by Jeff Franklin, which I think is the same person who created
Full
House
shows
as well.
Yeah. So he could be Stephanie's teacher or something.
So he could run into Danny Tanner potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If that happens, I would love for that to happen. It's not a spin-off still, but at least it's related.
Yeah. He was driving the car that killed Danny Tanner's wife.
Oh my God. So dark. I was not expecting that.
Oh,
holy
that would be
shit.
That would be what I would need. Oh.
Danny just sees him at the grocery store and they don't say anything to each other, but there's just a cold stare between them.
The finale of the show is him waking up from the nightmare, which is the coma after he hit the wife. It's all fake.
Oh man.
I imagine that I taught his children and made amends.
Yeah, everything is great, but you realize in the end it was him.
Yeah, he hadn't dealt with the guilt yet. Cool. I hope that's the show. I'm gonna be disappointed if that's not it.
Yikes. Yeah. Well.
I mean, anything else? He's a basketball coach, if not also a teacher in a high school. I know he lives in San Francisco now, and apparently he killed Danny Tanner's wife. So those are the things I think are happening in this first episode.
Yeah. One was Perfect Strangers still on TGIF? Could he be teaching that guy English?
Like doing ELS?
No, it looks like
the
Perfect
character's
Strangers. Perfect Strangers ended in '92. It looks like.
Yeah, this was on in '92, but in the fall probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. This one aired September 22nd.
Back when shows did that. Now, so what's the deal? So many shows like start in January now. It's weird.
I thought at some point they do September through whatever, and then they take a break, and then they restart.
Yeah, maybe it's just
But
because of the
shows
pandemic.
are also
a bunch
not-
of shows are starting.
It could be true. Shows are also not like generally 20 to 25 episodes long, a season long anymore, though, either.
Yeah,
You know, like they
can't
were.
carry that
like,
arc.
Yeah, for instance, Hanging with Mr. Cooper's first 4 seasons were 22 episodes long each, only going to 13 episodes on its way out in episode and season 5. All right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we get to the first episode? It's not called The Pilot, which is amazing. It is called The Presentation.
Mm.
On
What do
Hulu,
you think that
it
might
has
be?
pilot in parentheses, just to throw that out there.
Do you think Coop
also-
himself is doing a presentation?
Yeah, I'm not sure. But really quick, I looked at the second episode, and Michelle Tanner is in the second episode.
Oh,
Oh.
my
So-
gosh, you're doing a lot of research there for.
I didn't look at the first episode. I just looked at the second one.
Yeah.
Does it
I
say
just
anything about a
needed to-
car accident?
I just needed to know. Well, it
I
says
was gonna
Michelle
say-
Tanner and Mr. Cooper visit her mom's grave. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what it says.
I don't think it's gonna be Coop presenting. I think it's gonna be kids presenting it, but there's gonna be like one like screw up kid that we're focused on, one specific presentation that's off the rails. a lava a volcano eruption gone wrong or something.
Oh boy.
If there's a presentation, there's got to be a volcano.
What was Danny Tanner's wife's name?
We might not have ever
know.
heard.
No way. I can't believe that. I'll look
Like
it up.
Diane.
Yeah. I'll look it up. Let's watch the first episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Let's go
all right.
hang.
Let's go hang. Let's see if Jimmy's right about the presentation.
Coop.
All right, we'll see you after that. And we're back with from the first episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. It was called The Presentation from September 22nd, I believe 1992. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
I do. I'm
I
trying
was excited when you seemed confused on whether or not you have a write-up.
I'm just not sure. Is the presentation title just mean that they're presenting this show? Because
Oh yeah, I have no idea why it was called a presentation. Joe, did you catch a presentation in there?
No, not at all.
Okay.
okay. Mark Cooper is hired as a substitute teacher, and his roommate Robin teaches him how to control his students. Alan Thicke guest stars as Jason Seaver from Growing Pains, who gives Mark the Seaver home following the end of Pains.
Yeah, so right away, did you look that up, Joe? I feel like that was something you probably went after.
No.
Is that the same set as Growing Pains?
Yeah, it was the exact living room.
Okay, it was just the living room though. I was like, when they were in
Yeah.
the kitchen, I was like, is this new?
Yeah, I just took his word for it.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Our show's over. This show's starting.
I kind of like the
He asked if
little
they needed a white guy in their show,
and then he went, nah.
and Mark kicked him out.
Walked away. I thought that was a pretty funny and fun little stick to put in right in front of a brand new TV show.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
It probably helped with anybody that just like the Growing Pains, and they were like, "Oh, what? I already know he's not even going to be on the show, but I like the show a little bit more."
Yeah, it was probably, if anything else, a nice little nod to Alan Thicke and like all the money that he made ABC.
Yeah, they made a lot of good jokes. I think they were like ABC #1, at least alphabetically.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, big corporations like poked fun at themselves a little bit sometimes,
In the early
or
90s?
it slipped through the network guys when they were like reading the script.
They're just letting it roll, letting Mark cook.
Yeah. I hope so.
I mean, so for the most part, there's only like three main characters in the show, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Three's Company vibe, where Mark lives with two ladies, and so it's just like the early '90s version of that show.
Right.
We should watch that show probably.
Who is it? Robin was the lady that he knew in this house. Like his sounded like old friend.
Yeah, they were like childhood friends.
Were they childhood? Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And then Vanessa is then Robin's friend, and she didn't really know Mark before he moved in.
And seems pretty annoyed with him.
Yeah, making sure I read the room right, and that's what it was. And then Mark obviously has the hots for Vanessa.
Yeah, for sure.
And then at the end, Robin also was like, "You guys got to be friends," and I'm like, "I thought they were being friendly this whole time."
I mean, they weren't like hostile, but
Right.
they weren't.
They were making each
chummy.
other ice cream at the end before she told them they had to be friends. Like if they really didn't like each other or were mad, they would.
I mean, he was making fun of her because
she earned that.
She went on a date with a guy, and he comes into the kitchen and sees her there and is like, "Oh wait, you're not on your date anymore, and you're eating ice cream, which means you maybe had not a great night."
See, maybe the problem with it is I didn't pick up until after those scenes that they hadn't known each other, or he hadn't just been living there for a long time, or they hadn't been friends for a long time, because I just took that as roommates ribbing roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were just joking on each other, oh yeah, they don't know each other. He's being a dick.
Yeah, it was tough to tell how long this situation's been going on.
Mm-hmm. I liked it.
But yeah,
I'm just saying. I just want to say that I liked it.
Pretty silly. So there's that whole dynamic of the roommates, and then the dynamic of, it sounds like Mark is kind of freshly out of school, and he is Robin gets him Robin, right? Yeah, Robin.
Yep.
Is the one he knows, gets him a substitute teacher gig, and he's was a college athlete. So he's like, what sport am I substitute teaching? And she's like, science. And then he's got to go, and it's got kind of a Sister Act vibe, Sister Act 2 vibe, where the classes, or any
Back
number
in the
of
habit.
movies. Yeah, or any number of movies where he gets there and the class is super rowdy and doesn't respect him. And Cuba Gooding Jr.'s little brother is there, and was
that his brother?
Yeah,
I noticed his name was Omar Gooding, but I didn't put it together.
In my mind, I was like, this can't be Cuba Gooding Jr. Time doesn't work like this. Young Cuba Gooding Jr. couldn't be this kid, but that is who that is.
Yeah, he's the
So I'm
youngest
happy-
brother,
Okay.
youngest son of Cuba Gooding. Where was I? Yeah, and he's a little shyster, and glues Mark to a chair, and then the next day, Mark's back in the class, and he glues the kid to a chair, which I feel like you can't do as an adult.
Joe, go get Claire right now and ask her.
We have
Ask her if she's ever
questions.
glued someone to a chair.
If she has, and if she hasn't, what would be the repercussions to her if she
How
did?
many kids have you glued?
I'll confirm after the finale.
Okay, good.
How many kids?
I'm writing
to
it
how many
down.
Substances?
I'm writing that to re-ask you, so
All
I
right.
don't forget.
Yeah. Anything else? And that was like how he was earning the kids' respect, I guess.
Yeah, because he
By
came
getting on their
in.
level.
He came in on the first day of school being very, kind of by the book. He went to the chalkboard to write his name, Mr. Cooper. And then they decide, no, we're just gonna call you Coop, and he's like, okay. And then he lets them play music while they're supposed to be studying. They just essentially just walk over him the first day.
Not any music, Joe.
Oh, it was Boys to Men.
Heck yeah. Motown
Yeah.
Philly.
Yeah, so they just kind of walk over him the first day, and then I think the second day, I think the difference is that he's trying to level with them, but also be more himself, rather than trying to fight the situation, because it seems like he doesn't really like being a teacher. He gives this speech about how I guess he tried to make it in the NBA but couldn't hack it, so now he's a teacher. So I kind of get the gist that he's walking into this not really wanting to be there, but now he's decided he's gonna just kind of roll with it and make the best of it.
Yeah.
It seems like kind of your kind of a especially of this era sitcom standard opening. Well, this guy's in a situation, but he's gonna make the best of the
Yeah.
the living situation and job situation that he's in.
I mean, it also
Mhm.
it's a good way to start, to always be in constant turmoil in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also he doesn't have a family, or is gonna whatever, and then a reason to end the show. He can just keep going on like this for years.
Mm-hmm.
Just I live with these ladies, and I'm not really where I am, but I'll find myself. That's just sitcom purgatory that he can just roll around in until they can't get canceled.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, that's 100% of of how sitcoms go in this era for sure. It's Full House. It's Step by Step. It's we're coming out of a crappy situation and we're just gonna roll with the punches. But this is had some adult themes.
Mm-hmm,
This is what we're gonna put on after those shows where families are involved.
Yeah,
Where
it
Mark
was.
talks about sex a lot.
Yeah, it was for its run on TGIF. It was the last show.
That
of the
makes
night.
sense.
So right before 2020, putting the kids to bed.
Put your kids to bed, because Mr. Cooper's gonna try to put Vanessa to bed. Heyo.
I got predicts.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the TGIF lineup for those years, and it's shows like Family Matters, Boy Meets World, Step by Step, Dinosaurs, all of those
Family
shows. Yeah, clearly family shows, Sister Sister, with Mr. Cooper being the one, kind of singled out show about a single guy. Just kind of interesting. It felt a lot different, even though it still had those, those signature TGIF things, just the set itself, the music, but it felt slightly different and felt slightly I don't know, hip or something.
Yeah, you could use the word hip, you old man. But it was
Jazz cat.
it was categorically cooler than all those shows.
Cooler,
I feel like.
yeah.
It was cooler.
It was definitely less family.
Even the intro was cooler,
Yeah. And I feel like some of that is, by, having the show focus on like African American characters and like urban culture with, the kids listening to like R&B and hip hop, and just like Mr. Cooper's, I mean, not Mr. Cooper, but Mark Curry's humor in itself sets it aside from even, a Family Matters, which is also starring an African American family, but a very different side of the African American experience, I guess.
I mean, I think it helps that there's just no like kids in their family.
Mm-hmm.
Like he still deals with kids,
Mm-hmm.
but he can have an entire other section of the show where it's just like him and adults, and that's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's I mean I liked because the whole time they were going back and forth, like the classroom parts were fun too,
Mm-hmm.
but like the more adult parts that they could do, just seemingly because they're not interacting or have a family within the show, was like, oh, this feels a little bit more risque, even though it really isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still an ABC show.
Yeah. The most risky thing was that Vanessa like walked down with like a really tight fitting dress, like, oh, there's an attractive lady. Let's censor something.
Let's see, what else did I have? The theme song, when I was watching it, it's not the theme song that I remember.
Yeah, me either.
But
I don't remember a theme song then because that seemed fine to me.
I think in the finale, they have like the theme song I remember. But this one had a different theme song, and like it sounded to me, I was like, this sounds a lot like it's trying to be En Vogue. But then when I looked it up on the Wikipedia later, it actually was En Vogue.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the two, and Vanessa and Robin, right?
Yeah, they're actually singing the theme song.
Because Don Lewis, who's Robin, was also in Dreamgirls. So I don't know if, and their whole deal with her is that she is some sort of musician. They didn't actually say like what her job was, but Vanessa was like commented on it, and she commented on how her time teaching getting glued to a piano bench. So I don't know if we hear her dropping any bars in this show, but it seems like that's where they're going.
She does a rap roast of Mr. Cooper in episode 3. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it gives me with this show being so different, and with like the En Vogue theme song plus like the Growing Pains crossover in the beginning, and just like dropping it into primetime, it seems like they were really invested in this show. And I wondered if it was like it must have been pretty successful to stick in the the primetime lineup for those 3 years of the 5.
Well, and on episode 2, Michelle Tanner's in there too.
Yeah, making that a Full House crossover. That like I wonder if this was slightly more successful if they would have done less family shows and would have gone more to single adult shows.
Yeah.
It could have been so scary though to try that. So scary.
In 92. It's not where the money is. But they went 101 episodes or something, so
just enough. Syndication.
Good enough.
Should we see what we predict is going to happen in the final episode?
Yeah.
Probably.
Jimmy, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. You never let me go first.
I know. I figured it's your show. I'll let you go first.
I'm probably going to get none right now.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. That was my goal.
I think Mark is a full-time teach at this point. Pilot, he's a substitute. I think he's full-time teaching. I also think Mark is moving out. That's my number 2. He's moving out of the house, the Seavers house, because number 3, Robin is getting married.
Oh,
Oh,
Robin
that's
married.
the wedding. Huh?
I think that's the wedding. I think they did a spin. Like Vanessa was the one with the dudes in this episode in the pilot, and Robin is like, why not me? So I think Robin is getting married, and then number 4, I think Vanessa has come around to Mark. I think she's got the hots for Mark, because they make it a big deal in the pilot that they're like, they don't like each other, but obviously Mark has the hots for her, and then Robin's like, you gotta be friends.
I mean, no matter what, right? They date even if they're not together at the end of the show, they date in the show. It's got to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Vanessa makes it to the end of this show without them being together.
Oh, okay. I thought you just that's what I'm saying. But I don't necessarily think they need to stay together.
Sure.
I'm gonna go now. My number 1 is I think Mr. Cooper sinks a basketball shot.
If he takes a shot and misses, no point.
Yeah, he's got to sink the shot.
2 or 3. Foul line?
It don't matter if it's a layup. It counts. It's a basketball shot.
God, I hope he misses.
Number 2, Jimmy. I think Vanessa and Mark are not together. I think it's too easy.
You didn't want that point.
Didn't want the point. The other point I didn't want, I went anti-wedding. And so instead of a wedding, it is a high school event. Like there's a high school dance or it's graduation or something like that.
High school
I don't
wedding.
know. There's a high school. Yeah, the wedding of high
Schoolers
school.
are getting married.
High school wedding is happening. There's a high school event. And number 4, there's a blimp, but probably not.
Nice.
This is the
Is
one.
there
I
a
can feel it.
line? Is there a line we're drawing at high school event? Like if he just walks into a school, is that a high school
I think it has to
event?
be an event like hosted by I think it would be obvious if it's like a big high school event, like graduation or like a big dance.
Like
if it's like
greater than pep rally, less than
greater, I would say
what is
greater than sleepover. Like high school kids all gathering
High school
outside of a
luncheon.
high school. Greater than high school gathering, smaller than the moon landing, something like that.
So if it's a high school field trip to the moon, you do not get the points.
Right? Yeah. That's when I would fail.
Too big.
That's no longer a high school event. That is a NASA sanctioned event.
I see. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, Jimmy,
Glad we got that
don't
settled.
worry.
I think we
Don't
capped
worry.
it.
I don't think we're gonna have to worry about whether or not I get a point. I'm probably not gonna.
Okay. So for my predicts, I have that Cooper is a high school basketball coach because he's already a teacher at the school, or he's a sub now. I assume becomes a full time, but I think it just ties into his like basketball calling for him to just be a basketball coach at the school. It makes sense.
Well, let's hope he shows a kid how to shoot.
Yeah, more opportunities for like mentoring the children, so that'll be good for the show.
Yeah.
I think there's right now it's Robin, Vanessa, and Coop living at the house. I think there's a third person living at the house now. Wait, did I say third? I meant fourth.
Like
there's
a
a fourth
fourth?
person. Yeah. I don't know if
Which one of those 3 other
a
people do you
ghost.
not consider a human being? Chip?
fourth person. And I don't know if it's like that Coop and Vanessa have a child now, or there's just like another friend living with them, or a grandma or something, but another person living in the house.
Nice.
With the 3 of them still. I think
Alan Thicke.
Yeah. Alan Thicke's just like, hey, I'm back. Your 4th roommate.
I'm buying this house back, and you can all stay.
I've been living under the stairs.
Too real.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah. My third prediction, I think that there is a like bad or evil teacher or coach, some sort of anti-Cooper who's like,
We have a nemesis.
yeah, a nemesis to Cooper.
A nega Cooper.
protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Like he's like the Cobra Kai sensei, just teaching basketball players to sweep the leg. And then for my last prediction to like end the show, I think that Cooper leaves the school because he has an opportunity to coach the Golden State Warriors. I think he finally gets his shot at the big leagues, but this time it's as a coach instead of a player.
Wow, he's not even going
specifically.
He's not even going to like do college ball coaching?
Straight to the pros.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty ballsy move on the NBA's.
Yeah. He'd really made an impression.
The Warriors just really needed like the advertisement. No one was into the Warriors at the time.
Yeah, they had some rough times.
I mean, I think that's fun. I want it to happen. It would obviously not happen in real life.
Sure.
All right. Well, hey, let's see what happens in the final episode of Hangin' with Mr. Cooper. It was episode 101. It's called Getting Personal. Hello, everybody. We're back from the final episode of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Yes.
Okay.
Stalling for a second to see if this one's any better. Nope, it's not. Okay. Yeah, they're both awful. After Mark refuses to take their upcoming nuptials seriously, Vanessa tries a new approach to grab his attention, is what the IMDb says. Wikipedia isn't much better, except for that it explains that he wears a squirrel costume during their wedding pictures, which angers Vanessa greatly.
Which, come on, that was kind of awesome. That was great.
That's pretty.
They were just in their house. He was literally like, I'm going to run up and put my tux on. It's going to literally take 10 minutes.
Yeah. She was not laughing.
No.
What? Yeah, what was going on? They were taking like wedding photos before their wedding day?
Like pre-wedding photos.
Yeah.
But like in her wedding dress and his wedding tux.
Yeah, because it definitely wasn't their wedding day by any means.
Yeah, it wasn't their wedding day, and it also wasn't engagement photos because she was wearing her dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a weird thing to do. No wonder he didn't take it seriously.
Some would say.
Yeah, this is her fault.
Yeah, definitely not like a traditional thing to do. But,
No, not by any means. And then her then the bulk of the episode then was Mark trying to find out so Vanessa decided that he needs to find the exact classifieds like dating ad that she writes and find hers and then ask her out on a date. And then that's how she'll know, like, he knows her.
Yeah.
But apparently hers was just, like, at the same as, like, 20 other women's. Or whatever. It's what it sounded like. At least that's what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, that's just... Why would you do that, man? Like, you're gonna put an ad that he has to find in, like... a couple hundred, like, I mean, how many? It was like 2 full newspaper pages worth of like wanted dating ads. Mm-hmm. He's got to find the correct one. So then comes up with this plan, as I'm sure Mark is one to do. He's scheming, where he's gonna answer a ton of them, and say that he's got a rose in his lapel. And then he's just not going to wear it because Vanessa will see him at this restaurant and think that, he got it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then all these other women will be left.
Not a bad plan.
Honestly, not a plan. Yeah, not a bad plan,
yeah.
Right?
Because if he pulls it off right, like he's for sure to like answer her ad, and nobody gets hurt or he doesn't at least get caught up in other people's ads because he's not wearing the rose.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Smart.
hurt, but at least he doesn't get caught.
A lot of wasted nights.
Yeah.
For sure.
The only thing he actually messed up on was instead of having like, oh, you had a rose in your lapel, to like, she asked immediately about that. He should have had like a different little rose thing, like a little rose on the table, and been like, I put it right here, like, or something.
Yeah, like kept it like in his like breast pocket to just pop it out at her for a second.
Right. I mean, he should have just known what his fiance's ad was, just in general. I think,
Also
but that would have been number one.
Probably
but I guess
true.
when him being fully incapable of that, making her sound like she's the most basic of all women.
Yeah.
Just like I like ballerina roses and prosecco.
Okay. That's what you think basic women sound like?
I think. Well, I remember she wanted liked ballerina. What was it like? Ballerina ballet in the opera.
Oh. Yeah, he did say something about that.
He said like there was like 20 or something. Like there's a bunch of ads that said the exact same thing.
Ah.
And hers was one of the ads that said like that same thing.
Yeah.
That they found out at the end.
Okay, I gotcha. That's fair then.
I mean, you guys are married. How confident are you if you did this exercise with your wives that you would find your wife's ad on, I don't know, Craigslist, I guess, these days?
I mean, I know my wife's interests, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Is that what you're asking?
I feel like it's I mean, I think you could do it. Obviously, I feel like you know your wife's personality and what they're into, and it'd show.
But it would have to
ballet
have
and
something. Yeah, it would have to have something specific in there. Like, if I just wrote an ad for myself, like it's just like, "Hi, I'm an engineer who also like does music stuff. I like video games." Like,
if you wrote, "I'm an engineer that
Like-
also likes music stuff," I would know it's you.
I have one of maybe a couple podcasts that watches TV.
yeah, like that narrows down the pool to like 20,000 dudes in Minneapolis.
Yeah, true.
So
Fair enough.
Yeah, you'd have to put something specific in the ad.
Yeah.
Joe, can you write out your own personal ad for us then and just post
Yeah.
it? The listeners.
That does seem just like a foreign thing, like a newspaper personal ad. Like,
It seems even more risque than like Tinder online. Like it seems, it's crazy.
like legitimately, and I don't know if any of us can answer this question. I think we're all too young, but like, how does that, like, you write a description and then of yourself and what you're looking for, and then what you put like a phone number in there? A phone number seems too direct.
Yeah.
Like a PO box, and you exchange letters.
Yeah.
I think if you're desperate or ballsy, you put phone number. I mean, even in, this is 92 to 90, so this is 97. Like, do you have an AOL? Like, do you have an email yet? Even?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it would be like the newspaper fields those calls. I
and
don't
then
know though.
that
I don't think they do.
You gotta hire
There's
some
no way.
intern.
it would just
to
be kind of
take all these-
slow.
Yeah.
But
Because
like, that could work.
every single city would have to have like operators that are like, what are
Yeah.
they doing? Like, hello, hey, are you calling for this ad? Do you kill women? No? Okay, I'll put you through. Like, what do they do?
Right. They're not running background checks.
No. Yeah, you feel that stuff. It's a risk reward. It's basically how ballsy or desperate you are.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is you can't really get much into an ad other than like your like age, sex, and like what you're generally looking for of like a long-term relationship or just some fun. Like, I like the opera. Like, that's what you're gonna go based off of. Like, I should respond to this ad.
I mean, at least you got a jumping off point, right?
Yeah, we gotta start another pod that's just like millennials who don't understand the 90s.
Millennials read classifieds.
Yeah, like millennials interview Gen
Millennials
Xers.
ask their parents.
Yeah. You guys,
I mean,
like I've got a
and
friend.
we're old millennials too.
Yeah.
Like, you know
Right,
what I'm saying? Like we're
barely
like
in there.
some millennials would consider us not millennials because we're too old.
Yeah.
Well, they
I-
don't know what they're talking about.
Like I've got a friend who's like, 10 years older, like just enough to be in the younger part of like the next generation up. And I often find it fun to ask him about like, what was it like to buy a plane ticket in the 90s? Because like you were in college. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Right, because we were just young enough where our parents did that,
Yeah.
or we didn't do it at all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Spoiler alert, you'd have to go to the airport or go to a travel agent. That's how you bought a plane ticket.
Yeah, like travel agents, man.
Mhm.
What the fuck are
What the
those?
fuck? You mean
Like-
orbit.com? Or
Yeah,
kayak?
you mean the internet? Oh man, you could say that about just about anything though. That anything that you did in the '90s, now you could just say, you mean the internet didn't do that for you?
Yeah.
Al Gore
does
was
it
not
all.
as smart as I thought.
Okay, so yeah, that all happened.
That all
you know?
happened.
Like went through. I mean, that was like that was 90% of the episode. Is
There was a small part of shenanigans during the dinner with the Rose where Mr. Gooding, who's still in this show,
Mhm.
oh, I didn't look and see how many episodes he's in, but gotta be the bulk of the series, right? If he's
He's
still
like-
here.
In the premiere, he was Cooper's student, and now he's like Cooper's bro.
He was like a random kid, and apparently Mark's got him under his wing now.
Yeah.
But so his thing is he's gonna take the rose. He's gonna wear the rose so that Mark and Vanessa are gonna get out of there, and he's gonna swoop in and just have his pick
Yeah.
of these women.
Yeah. Also, not a bad plan. Like if you already know that like this thing is teed up, that there's gonna be a bunch of women there waiting for their date, and you have like the one thing that lets you walk into any blind date, like not a bad plan.
Okay, but if, like we were saying, anyone could just answer these ads, can't he just answer an ad like Mark did and have one date?
But then he gets to just like walk in and like pick based on looks.
Okay, I see.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to be shallow about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Great
yeah,
plan.
yeah. So
All right.
Omar Gooding, who 64 episodes, by the way, just FYI.
Nice.
And then, but hey, Raven Simone is in this show now.
Yeah, we didn't talk
Yeah.
about that. There's like two kids, Raven
Yeah.
Simone, and then this other boy, who I
Tyler.
gather is like a neighbor.
Marquise Wilson.
That
he
name,
was,
like,
yeah, he was like the neighbor. He was the Kimmy Gibbler.
that name sounds
Yeah,
familiar. I
he's
was
the
gonna look
Urkel.
it up.
He looked familiar. I don't know why, but yeah, so Raven, so there was one other lady, something Lee, I think
Oh,
was
Geneva.
the character's name. Right?
Her name was Geneva Lee.
Geneva Lee, and that's his cousin, Mark's cousin, has moved in with him and Vanessa, and Nicole Raven, that's so Raven, Dr. Doolittle fame, is her daughter. So his, what is that, like first removed or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
And then she's befriended the neighbor, Urkel,
Mm-hmm.
Tyler.
So yeah,
And-
so the residents of the house now are what? Cooper, Vanessa, Cooper's cousin,
Yeah.
and Cooper's cousin's daughter, and Robin is gone.
Yeah. No idea what happened to Robin, so I definitely have one prediction wrong.
Oh, don't worry.
But also
I
this
have
lady,
many, many more wrong.
nice. This lady was also a music teacher, they said, because they come to her for advice because Nicole, Raven, and neighbor kid are going to sing at the wedding, and they want to know what kind of song to sing, and so they brought up that the lady was also a music person. So I feel like they just swapped out Robin. Maybe she went on to do other things.
It seems like Robin was in the first two. Oh no, she was in the first only season. She was in 22 episodes, 92 to 93. So she must have only been in the first episode or first season, and then
so maybe she got written off.
And then Raven and the other Sandra Quarterman, who played Geneva Lee, the cousin lady, they were in 79, which then equals 101. So they must have been in seasons 2 through 5.
So they immediately made this a family show by throwing some kids into it.
Yeah.
So the whole thing we were talking about, how like it worked really well without family, they decided it did not, and then put the family into the show.
They wanted that money. Yeah. I read that this last season was aired in the summer, which is, that's a good way to kill a show. And it was on Saturdays. So it's no longer part of the TGIF
It's not
format.
TGIF at all.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was reading a little bit about what was happening in TGIF at that point, and I guess like Disney had bought ABC, or like the parent company of ABC, in like 95, and then over the next couple years we're trying to wind down the TGIF thing, or transform the TGIF thing from a like family friendly night of TV into like a more like teenager focused night of TV. And that's where they came up with like Boy Meets World and Sabrina.
Oh, nice. Classic.
And they were kind of winding down Family Matters, Step by Step, and Cooper. Hanging with.
Jump on the back of that is they were holding on till Step by Step and Hanging with Mr. Cooper to like be replacements if like Sabrina or Clueless failed. And Clueless got canceled by February, and so then they replaced that with Step by Step in March. But Sabrina was successful and lasted 4 seasons on ABC. So basically, Mr. Cooper just didn't get renewed.
Right.
Then. Because
So,
I guess Mark Curry's idea was that the wedding was going to be the season 6 premiere, because he didn't want to end a series finale with a wedding.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah, right?
He knew what was up.
Yeah.
That's also a good way to try to bait them into another season. It's like, hey, we got this big moment geared up.
He had some ideas.
He's not dumb.
Yeah. So yeah, it was, ratings were going down, but also things were changing over at ABC. So it's just kind of the end of that era that they kind of walked into.
Yeah, late 90s were hard on us all.
Yeah, sure. Sure they were. So all in all, what are you guys' overarching thoughts of Hanging with Mr. Cooper? Is this your new Frasier?
No. I felt this was a good way for me to watch Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
I'm honestly a little bit more disappointed that the family came in at the end, and I'm like, oh, maybe the first season's pretty dope.
Yeah, probably.
And then it falls down after that.
At least episode 2.
Oh yeah, episode 2 with Michelle Tanner. Also, I told Joe this earlier. Jimmy, it's called Hangin' with Michelle. Is episode 2.
Just no shame.
Yeah. So episodes 2 for me is a need see. Need to see. After that, I'll go from there. I'm mildly interested, honestly. I thought the first episode was good and it got me, but this last episode, I was kind of mad about. So
yeah, I'm definitely more interested in what I saw from the first episode rather than the last.
Yeah,
I'm interested in a TGIF show about a single dude living in an apartment or in a house with 2 other single women. There's some article I was reading that said that they were going for like an update of Three's Company, but then somewhere towards the end of that first season, they decided to go shift it more back towards the family route, and that's why they got rid of Robin, and replaced Robin with a mother-daughter to like bring a kid into the house.
And then you bring a kid into the house, therefore you can have a neighbor kid as well.
Cosby
Now you have
Show
two
had
kids.
just ended, so
yeah,
got a whole ton of kids to choose from.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it became a little bit more conventional in that way, and I'm definitely more interested in what could have been of, hanging with Mr. Cooper and his bros, his lady bros.
Yeah. So Josh,
Yeah,
you're just gonna watch the first season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch Hangin' with Michelle episode 2, and then we'll see. Is basically where I'm at.
Right on.
So, there's that. Should we see how we predicted?
Yeah.
Probably should.
Jimmy, you went first last time, so I guess you can go first again.
I did. I have Mark is a full-time teacher, and I don't know if we got any confirmation of what he's doing.
No, they didn't really talk about his job at all, actually.
So
His job was was almost full-time husband, but who knows if he screwed that up.
literally have no idea what he's up to. So inconclusive. Mark is moving out, I said, and that doesn't seem to be true. They're just already in a new house.
Mm-hmm.
Robin is getting married. She might be somewhere, but not on this show. And then Vanessa has come around to Mark. She's got the hots for Mark, and that was true.
Very much true.
That was true.
One for me.
Way to go. Hey, Jimmy, I did just as good as you, but minus 1 point.
You got negative a point?
Well, you got 1 point, right?
Yeah.
So that means I got 0.
Oh.
I said Mr. Cooper sinks a basketball shot. Man didn't even look at a basketball in this episode. He was at least holding one in the first episode.
Wants nothing to do with it.
Was he?
Yeah. Yeah, the first episode he was just like holding a basketball, watching TV at the very beginning.
Oh, yep.
And my next two are very anti this episode. I specifically said Vanessa and Mr. Cooper are not together. That is not true. I also very specifically said there would not be any wedding. There wasn't a wedding, but that was the premise of the episode, was to get to a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said in substitute of a wedding, there would be a high school event. We don't even know if he's allowed to go into a high school anymore or anything.
Allowed.
So that's no points. And then number 4, the evergreen point giver of the season is a blimp. Still giving me 0. So I'm going to take 0 points.
That'll happen.
Yep. I'm on the Joe train.
Yeah, I had that Cooper was a high school basketball coach and leaving to coach the Golden State Warriors. That
inconclusive.
Yeah, ranges from inconclusive to wrong. And I said that there was the bad or evil teacher, coach. Again, no school stuff going on, so none of that.
No Darth coach.
Yeah.
No.
But I did say that there is a 4th person living in the house.
Definitely.
Ooh, you
Which-
did.
That was so Raven.
Yeah, that was so Raven. Because we lost a Robin, but then added Raven and her mom, so there are 4 people in the house.
That is technically true.
Mm-hmm. So point for that.
Yeah. Was that all 4?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right, so 1 point. All right, well, you all did great. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you both.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that's it, I guess. Right?
I think we did it.
All right. Cool. Good job. Way to go, everybody. It's January 2021, so I hope everyone's life is better than it was in 2020 already.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure everything magically changed in a week. But stay safe. Be safe. Do good things to people and whatnot. If you want to, you can hit us up at FNL Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter. give us show suggestions, or
Let us know if you've ever seen a blimp in a TV show.
Yeah, I would really, if you could specifically give us a show suggestion that there's a blimp in the finale, I would appreciate it. Because I'm gonna keep guessing it.
Yeah.
I should just be, in my picks, I should be trying to find this.
It'd be great if it
But I'm
shows
not.
up in the pilot because it still wouldn't count for anything.
Ugh.
The
God.
best.
I'm not doing any blimp research either. I'm really failing
I
here.
don't think you possibly could.
I think I can do this. Next. Here's the deal. I'm taking the point, but I'm telling you right now, my next show, I'm doing blimp research.
You can't take a point if you're doing research.
I'm going to do... Well, maybe I won't. You're not going to believe me now. If I just happen to pick a show there's a blimp, I'm screwed.
Yep. Well, you should have thought about that.
Well, maybe I'll do blimp research. Maybe I won't. Listeners, thank you for listening. Subscribe, 5 stars. We'll see you next week for another First and Last. Goodbye. There's no way I can do blimp research. What am I gonna Google? I mean, I Google blimp in the finale. I guess that's what I would Google. I was looking at Joe's arms.